Hey everybody, this is my 125 gallon New World tank, and I just came over here to have a look at my silver dollars. I wanted to shoot a video about how interesting one of them looked, and now it doesn't look that way anymore, and so I'm thinking it might have had something to do with the way they change color overnight. And a lot of fish will do this. Neons, for example, when you first turn your lights on in the morning, you'll notice your neons are almost colorless. It takes them a little while to color up, and that's because at night their colors wash out and it allows them to hide better or something. I'm not really sure what's going on with them, but a lot of fish do that. A lot of fish will have a very different sort of coloration when the lights first come on in the morning versus after they've been on for a little while. And when I turned the lights on this morning, one of my silver dollars, I do believe it's that one down there, had two really dark spots behind its gills, one in the upper portion and one in the lower portion of its body. And its fins had a really dark tracery around the back of them. It actually might have been this one here, because if you look, you'll notice how it has sort of a reddish line around its tail fin and even along the end of its dorsal fin. Perhaps that reddish line had darkened up overnight. I don't really see any remnants of the spots in their bodies anymore. I do have spotted silver dollar. You can see the smaller one here, and there's another one down there. But those are a different species. They are silver dollars, but they are spotted silver dollars. These are your standard model silver ones. And maybe that's it. I can kind of see a little bit of a hint of a dark spot behind the gill there, and we can see the red tracery on the fins. I don't know, but if anybody else has experience with silver dollars, these are the first I've ever owned. I've wanted these fish for years and was always reluctant to get them because I always read that they're really, really skittish, and if you're going to have them in an aquarium where you're walking around the room or if you've got pets, it's not a good idea because they'll dart and dash and they'll be so skittish they'll wind up injuring themselves. And I do get that sometimes. In fact, you can see the sort of marks on the fins, marks on the scales on some of them. That is from banging into stuff, but I also have them in a really busy, crowded tank with a lot of rocks and sharp edges on woodwork and other fish and everything else, so that's kind of my fault there. But as far as them being super skittish and, risky to keep, I've not really had that experience at all. I wish I had started keeping these years ago. They are pretty big, so being in a 125, I'm not really worried about it. But at the rate they're going, that big one right there in the middle would be pushing it for a 55. If you had a little group of these, which you should, they are a schooling fish, so you should have at least, 3 to 5 of them. I would say at least 5 in my opinion. But in a 55, I wouldn't really recommend having a whole lot of other fish in there if you had 5 of those silver dollars. They get pretty big. So we're probably looking at a solid 6 or 7 inches already on that big one. Let's see if I can get my hand over there for scale without them freaking out too bad. So, that's not a small fish. So again, I don't know if I'd necessarily recommend putting them in a 55. And of course, you can see my angelfish in the background there. That gives you a little idea of scale, how big these get. And unlike the angelfish that just sort of drift majestically around the tank, these silver dollars are swimmers. They do go long distances pretty quickly. They don't do these little short hops like an angelfish does. So again, I would recommend something a little bigger than a 55 if you're going to do the silver dollars long term. But at any rate, these are my very first silver dollars. I have no other experience with them. I do know that I have the 2 different species in there, but I'd be interested to hear from anybody else if they've had any experience with them looking darker in the morning, or their fins having dark traceries or spots on them. They looked very different when I turned the lights on this morning. I'll bring my camera with me tomorrow if I think about it, and I'll see if I can't get some video of turning the lights on and see what they look like as soon as it happens. So make sure you're subscribed. You won't miss that whenever I get around to doing it. I will do it eventually when I remember. So if you're subscribed, you won't miss that or anything else. You never know what it's going to be with me. So thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed that. Hope you enjoyed these silver dollars as much as I do. I definitely recommend them if you've got room for them. Thanks again. I'll see you real soon in the next one.